Hey guys, your favorite anime waifu analyzer here, bringing y'all yet another video. And anime girls can be very diversive. You have the slime anime girls, you got the zombie anime girls, you got the monkey anime girls. But now we have vampire anime girls now, which I don't even know how the hell these studios are just coming up. I'm pretty sure they got like a whole anime girl randomizer and make a whole anime about it. And yeah, so that's where I'm gonna get into today's topic of the video. The anime I'm going to be discussing in this video is called Call of the Night, or in Japanese, Yofukashi No Uta. The plot of Call of the Night revolves around our main protagonist Yamori Ko getting sick of the constant matrix of a system that is school, and decides to stay up past his bedtime and go in the bright yet desolate city with the only people up at the time are the overtime salarymen or people coming back from TGI Fridays. Now you may be wondering, why does the title have Twilight in the name? This is just clickbait. Now. There is one group of people that are up in this time that I just mentioned a couple of seconds ago, and that is freaking vampires. I still can't believe it. It kind of sucks that this came out in the summer instead of the fall, but oh well. And yeah, in today's video I will discuss one of the most hyped series for this season that was able to exceed my expectations. So kick back and casually suck some blood for today's review. As I mentioned earlier, the series revolves around our young protagonist Yamori Ko, who is unable to go to sleep and stumbles upon a vampire waifu. Yamori has a goal to fall in love with Nazuna in order to become a vampire himself, as the only way one becomes a vampire is if they fall in love with a vampire. In terms of a story, the anime has progressed much besides from the parasitic but romantic dynamic between the two. We do get to learn more about Nazuna and what she did before meeting Yamori, and how the vampire empire works in this anime. We get to learn that vampires aren't exactly the vampires we know, that they don't necessarily turn other humans into vampires from biting them, but instead just bite them for fun or for it to be a good meal. However, for all vampires, it's necessary to create offspring, as one who doesn't create any in the span of a year will die. Along with this, we get to slowly learn about who used to hang out with Yamori and how he was like in school. Yamori's friends that have been introduced in the series, like Akira and recently Mahiro, who used to be close friends with Yamori from grade school. Because of it, we soon get to see a side of him from his early childhood that could have led him to the way he is now. Although in terms of character, the series mostly revolves around the relationship between Nazuna and Yamori. As I said, the side characters do get some sort of relevance to the plot of the story. The professional vampire girls that we recently got introduced to a week or two ago, although not the most fleshed out besides one exception, does give us the viewer a sense of how the world works for vampires, how each vampire plays a role to attract humans to them to make offspring. Seri, being that exception, has really good character growth, despite just being introduced to the series revolving around her wanting to make a friend instead of just turning people into offspring. It doesn't sound interesting in a very condensed summarization, but in terms of the execution the series did, it was amazing. Yamori is an alright main protagonist who is neither introverted nor extroverted. He can almost be seen as a self-insert for the viewer at first, but around the midpoint of the anime, you get to see a side that shows how sympathetic he is, like he was getting Siri to accept her feelings and being very devoted to his goal. I wouldn't blame him though, cause Nazuna is the absolute GOAT of the series and carries it. Despite being the main girl, she really isn't necessarily annoying at all, and even the times when she is embarrassed, it feels very realistic, like how anyone would react, unlike Nazuna helps introduces Yamori an almost new version to the world he knows, and both characters interact with each other like husband and wife already, despite Yamori still not falling in love with Nazuna yet. The two both have really good chemistry, and despite the romantic implications in the series, they also work really well as a comedy duo, as a lot of the jokes they tell can be very humorous, and especially Yamori with the many facial expressions he makes. Same goes with Nazuna. I would mostly say this because of the age difference between the two and how both grew up in different times, and like it's just, I feel as though that it's kind of hard to really support them as a couple because of the age difference, but at the same time they really do have good chemistry, and like it's just that age gap. That's a big ass age gap that I feel like us anime fans have to realize. But at the same time, I'm not gonna say anything because I know, let's just say it's better if we just ignore this, and like the most they have done in the whole entire anime is just kiss. But besides that, I think the two really have good chemistry with each other and really pays off and makes the anime very enjoyable to an average viewer. Some pros I can say for the series is that it is one visually beautiful series. The colors help contrast the typical dark night of a big city and instead adds color to it, displaying the hidden excitement the city offers at night. The anime will blow your mind by the end of the first episode and want to continue to watch more. I also believe the story flows consistently without it feeling rushed. I believe the anime is adapting every chapter or two per episode, which helps it feel like an actual story, just an action scene to action scene. A few cons I would say for the story, or rather why some people would find this story to be slow, is because of what I mentioned lastly in the pros just a few seconds ago. The story is following a slow but consistent adaptation of the manga, but the fact that we haven't gotten anything to make the series more interesting or a rising action yet, it's just been focusing on Nazuna and Yamori's relationship for the most part. The introduction of the other vampires and Yamori's friends were a great icebreaker, and I hope we get to see more like it in the future episodes. Also, I have a question about what the hell happened, because Nazuna, I have a question about Nazuna. She does get very embarrassed whenever she brings up the topic of love, and what we learned is that vampires need to make offsprings and they need to have humans fall in love with them. So then, does that mean that Nazuna fell in love with people because of how old she is now? There must have been some story that had to happen. Hopefully it's explained in the manga. Call of the Night is a pretty good anime to casually watch this season, and is honestly the anime that carried this season for me. Classroom the Elite is good, don't get me wrong. Also Isekai Oji-san, I need to talk about that anime soon. But Call of the Night was the anime I had high expectations for the most part, and I'm glad it lived up to it. So I would get this anime a solid 8 out of 10, which I believe is a good rating. Who knows, maybe the future episodes will exceed my expectations and my rating will change. Who knows? Thank you to the people who do end up watching this far into the video. I really appreciate it. I'm starting to get used to posting, but some anime I've been watching that aren't seasonal haven't been hitting much, to be honest, so it may take time. This video is going to be relatively short since long videos aren't my best performing, so yeah. Once again, thank you all, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.